Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Senator Anderson.
I rise in support of this bill. I'm a proud co-author. Not only is this bill a step in the right direction, but we see throughout the state other law enforcement organizations coming up with new and innovative ways that they're trying to address the issue. In San Diego, the Sheriff's Department initiated a program that if you know that you have somebody in your family that has an issue, that they give you, that you can register the person with their photo, and it will pop up when they see them on the road, and if they decide to pull them over or to discuss or look for them, or if they go missing, that gives them a chance to find these individuals early on. It also gives you words and phrases to use to reach out to that person in a way that they know that the law enforcement is a safe person. We've had too many bad experiences where people with disabilities have been not purposely mistreated, but mistreated because of their disability. And this is a solid step in the right direction to make sure those experiences are productive. I urge an aye vote.
Senator Morlott.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the senator from Santa Clara County for providing Senate Bill 11. There is a name in Orange County that's rather famous now, and that is the name of Kelly Thomas, resident of Fullerton, who was encountered by more than 4 Fullerton Police Department representatives. And in the case, our district attorney said that one of them put on gloves and said, "I'm going to blank you up." And Kelly Thomas was beaten so severely that he died. Kelly Thomas was schizophrenic. And because of it, so many parents came to our Board of Supervisors saying, "You need to adopt Laura's Law." So for those of you that were here the last 2 years and voted for Senate Bill 585 by Darrell Steinberg, that allowed the County of Orange to have a funding source. And we were the second county after Nevada County to adopt Laura's Law. So I want to thank you for the senator from Santa Clara County for proposing this bill, addressing this very critical area. Training of police officers is probably one of the best solutions, and I urge a strong aye vote for this bill. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President and members, and I rise also in support. I want to thank the author for his continued effort with regards to mental health in California. We've suffered a similar incident here in the Sacramento region where there was a child with mental health problems, an adult living with his parents. A situation occurred where the parents could not restrain him. An officer was called in, and it ended up in a death of the individual with the mental illness. And we need so much help in this area in terms of education and making sure that our officers are properly prepared to address these very challenging moments, but moments that I think could be brought down several notches in terms of the emotion of the moment to give the officers the proper tools to take this to a lower level and hopefully not have incidents where people's lives are lost. So I want to thank you for bringing this forward and urge support.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Bell, please close.
Urge an aye vote. I'd like to thank our sergeant for training our own sergeants, and urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Aye Bates. Aye Bell. Aye Berryhill. Aye Block. Aye Canella. Aye De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Aye Galgiani. Aye Glazer. Aye Hall. Hancock. Aye Hernandez. Aye Hertzberg. Aye Hill. Aye Wesso. Aye Huff. Aye Jackson. Aye Lada. Aye Leno. I Leyva, I Liu, I McGuire, I Mendoza, I Mitchell, I Monning, I Morlock, I Morrell, I Wynn, I Nilsson, I Pan, Pavley, I Roth, I Runner, Stone, I Vidak, I Wachowski, I Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members.
Allen, I. De Leon, Fuller, I. Hall, I. Pan, Runner.
Ayes 37, no 0. The measure passes. Going out of file order, members, we're going to move to file item 127, Senate Bill 208. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 208 by Senator Lara, an act relating to water.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President and members. SB 208 helps disadvantaged communities and nonprofit organizations who apply for IRWIN grants to secure funding for sustainable water projects. Currently, the IRWIN payment process is pay-as-you-go, which creates inequity for smaller nonprofits and disadvantaged communities who cannot pre-finance those projects. This bill would allow these project proponents to receive an advance payment of up to 50% of the grant award. Our state's future and sustainability of our water resources depend on innovative water initiatives, and the health of our disadvantaged communities depend on opportunities such as the IRWIN Grant Program for improved water quality statewide. To address concerns from the Environmental Quality and Natural Resources Committee about accountability, amendments taken in Appropriations Committee gives more discretion to the Department of Water Resources to ensure that these funds are used responsibly by project recipients. I respectfully ask for your aye votes.
Any discussion or debate on the measure? Any discussion or debate? Please call roll.
Allen, I. Anderson, I. Bates, Bell, I. Berryhill, Block, I. Cannella, I. De Leon, Fuller, no. Gaines, Galgioni, I. Glazer, I. Hall, I. Hancock, I. Hernandez, I. Hertzberg, I. Hill, I. Hueso, I. Huff, Jackson, I. Lada, I. Leno, I. Leyva, I. Liu, I. McGuire, I. Mendoza, I. Mitchell,
Aye.
I. Monning, I. Morlock, no. Morrell, no. Wynn, I. Nilsson, no. Pan, I. Pavley, I. Roth, I. Runner, no. Stone, Vidak, I. Wachowski, I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members.
Bates, I. Berryhill, De Leon, Gaines, Huff, Stone.
Ayes 30, noes 5. The measure passes. Returning to file item 112, members, Senate Bill 682. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 682 by Senator Leno, an act relating to courts.
Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this bill will ensure that limited resources that we have to provide for our court system and judiciary are used effectively, and by requiring an accurate analysis of costs and savings before critical court functions are privatized. These are the same requirements that already apply to all state agencies, including our schools and our community colleges and our libraries. So what we're not prohibiting anything. We're just saying that if you courts wish to privatize any services, that you must follow some protocols. Number one, that there will be savings of taxpayer dollars, that state workers will not lose their jobs as a result of this contracting, and that they will not, the contracted employees will not be paid less than, that there will be cost savings found otherwise. There are numerous exceptions in the bill, recognizing that there are some reasons why this contracting would be necessary. So we exempt when the service is highly specialized or technical, when the contract is necessary to avoid conflicts of interest in emergency situations, and for temporary or occasional services. The bill also, at the request of the courts, has been amended so that it is not retroactive. This is only for new contracts moving forward. So given the importance of the work that the courts do and the very highly sensitive information that is handled by so many of these court employees, trial courts should be held to at least the same standards, nothing more, but at least the same standards of due diligence of other public entities. So I do ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. Any discussion or debate on the item? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, is there any objection to the use of unanimous roll call? Thank you. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? No. Bates? Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? No. Galgiani? Glazer? No. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Weso? Aye. Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lara? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leba? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nielsen? No. Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Runner? No. Stone? Vidak? No. Wykowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Bates? No. Canella? De Leon? Galgiani? Aye. Roth? No. Stone?
Ayes 23, noes 14. The measure passes. File item 138. Senate Bill 400. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 400 by Senator Lara, an act relating to greenhouse gases and making appropriation therefore.
Senator Lara.
Thank you, Madam President and members. SB 400 achieves two important goals. It strengthens the nexus between greenhouse gas reduction funds and high-speed rail. It also ensures that we realize the original goals of the Cap-and-Trade program to reduce emissions and improve air quality in disadvantaged communities throughout our state. Through last year's budget process, the legislature appropriated hundreds of millions of cap-and-trade dollars to the High-Speed Rail Authority. Those funds were designated for acquisition, construction, planning, and other costs associated with the project. Once the project is completed, it will have a significant beneficial effect on greenhouse gas emissions in California, equivalent to removing an estimated 31,000 vehicles from California's roads. This bill provides additional criteria to ensure that a proportion of those funds is directed to projects and measures that provide a more immediate benefit to reducing emissions. SB 400 specifies that 25% of cap-and-trade funds allocated to the high-speed rail will be spent on environmental mitigation of the project, including measures that will provide a co-benefit of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and improving air quality. Members, this legislature has established a policy through SB 535 by our pro tem to allocate 25% of all cap-and-trade funds to disadvantaged communities. Many of the communities along the proposed high-speed rail route are in regions that are already disproportionately impacted by poor air quality. In many urban areas, residents are already impacted by heavy congestion and emissions from transportation corridors. That is especially true in areas where high-speed rail train will share the route under a hybrid system with existing railways that are already busy with commercial goods movement and passenger rail operations. Residents living in close proximity to these heavily congested transportation corridors already suffer adversely health effects from increased emissions. This bill will prioritize projects in those communities. It is the right thing to do given that they're, in addition to already suffering from multiple air quality issues, now as a big thank you, we're putting a high-speed rail right through their community. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion or debate? Senator Anderson.
This bill is the perfect trifecta. I didn't support cap and trade because I thought it was a transfer of wealth. I didn't support the high-speed rail because you didn't promise it would deliver any water to Central Valley. And I didn't support stealing lanes from the road, congesting our neighborhoods for more bicycle travel. I don't know what the heck to do with this bill, but it is the perfect trifecta. And I want to thank the author for making my life so complicated.
Any further discussion or debate?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, sir. Please call roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? Aye. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Block? Aye. Canella? De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Glazer? No. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lara? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nielsen? No. Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Runner? Stone? No. Vidak? Aye. Wykowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members, please.
Allen? Berryhill? No. Canella? De Leon? Galgiani? Aye. Morlock? Aye. Roth? Runner?
Ayes 26, noes 9. The measure passes. Returning to file order, file item 117, SB 16. Senator Bell? Pass. File item 118, Senate Bill 24. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 24 by Senator Hill, an act relating to electronic cigarettes.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam President. And members, I introduced SB 24 to regulate electronic cigarettes because a growing number of youths are using the devices which deliver high addictive nicotine. Youth use of e-cigarettes has more than doubled, rising from 3.1% in 2011 to 6.5% in 2012. And youth use of e-cigarettes is now higher than youth use of traditional cigarettes. SB 24 makes e-cigarette retailers subject to the STAKE Act, California's premier law to prevent youth access to cigarettes and other tobacco products. The bill also requires retail licenses through the Board of Equalization for e-cigarette retailers and includes e-cigarettes in California's Smoke-Free Act. The bill also requires that e-cigarette liquids be equipped with child-proof packaging. This is important because more and more kids are getting poisoned by e-cigarette liquids. Children can easily open and ingest the often fruit-flavored e-cigarette liquids, which can be toxic even if ingested in small amounts. Just 1 teaspoon of liquid nicotine can be deadly. The bill will also raise the age to purchase e-cigarettes from 18 to 21, contingent upon the enactment of Senator Hernandez's SB 151, which raises the age of purchase for tobacco products. Finally, the bill allows local preemption. If local governments want to regulate e-cigarettes more strictly, they are free to do so under SB 24. There has been some discussion about whether or not e-cigarettes should be defined as tobacco products, and we've had that discussion earlier today. SB 24 uses the existing e-cigarette definition that was codified in 2010 and was not opposed by any health groups and was in fact supported by many of them at that time. The debate about whether or not e-cigarettes should be considered a tobacco product is a debate we should have and had, and I support that legislation. But it's not what SB 24 focuses on. The bill is about parity to ensure that regulations governing traditional tobacco stores also apply to vape shops and e-cigarette stores. SB 24 has received bipartisan support and is part of a package of bills that will keep California at the forefront of public health efforts to reduce the impacts of nicotine addiction. I respectfully ask for your aye vote, members.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate on the issue? Any discussion or debate?
Yes, sir.
Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry. Senator Jackson.
Yes, a question of the author, if I may.
Of course.
Proceed.
In issues like this, I tend to look to see where the American Cancer Society is, because we recognize that these kinds of materials are in fact or can be carcinogenic. And I'm wondering if you could clarify why the American Cancer Society, the American Lung Association, and the American Heart Association are in opposition to the
Very
bill.
good. Thank you, Senator Jackson, for the question. Some of those organizations actually supported this definition of e-cigarettes 2 years ago. What seems to be occurring what brought about the change in their approach to the e-cigarette issue is that these organizations have encountered and begun a national effort to change the definition and equate tobacco products, e-cigarettes as tobacco products. And at the end of the day, that's probably where we hopefully will be. But we're not there yet. And this is not the rest of the country. This is California. And we have to work within the reality of this building and the reality of what we can do and what we can accomplish. And this bill will reduce the impact and the use of e-cigarettes by minors. And that's what's important about this. Their effort is admirable, their effort is encouraging, but their effort may not play out at the end of the day. And my goal with this legislation, my goal with why I introduced this and why I've had a long history of preventing youth access to tobacco as a local city council member, my city of San Mateo was one of the first in 1994 as mayor when we established the first ordinance prohibiting smoking in bars, restaurants, and the workplace. I've been proud of the work that we've done and want to continue that and want to make sure that at the end of this year, hopefully the governor will have a bill. If the bill that we voted on previously and earlier today, Senator Leno's, which I voted for, if that bill is signed by the governor, this bill will be included in that effort because the STAKE Act would be included in that definitional change. But what I want to make sure of is that at the end of the day, we have something in place to protect the interests of children and protect the ability of this state to go after those retailers who sell and market e-cigarettes to minors. Today, there is no legislation in place to do that. This bill will do that.
Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, would you like to close, Senator?
Thank you, Madam President. I just respectfully ask for an aye vote, members. This is an important issue, and I believe this is we have the ability with this to keep tobacco products out of children's mouths for one extra day, or at least one extra year, if that's what happens in this case. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Glazer? Hall? Aye. Hancock? Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lara? Leno? Leyva? No. Lou, McGuire, I, Mendoza, I, Mitchell, Monning, I, Morlock, no, Morrell, no, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, I, Roth, no, Runner, Stone, Vidak, no, Wachowski, I, Wolk.
Call the absent members, please.
Allen, Berryhill, De Leon, Glazer, Hancock, Lotta, Leno, Liu, Mitchell, Wynn, I, Nilsson, Pan, Runner, Stone, Wolk.
Senator Hill moves the call. File item 119, Senate Bill 27. Senator Hill? Senator Hill? Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 27 by Senator Hill, an act relating to livestock.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, antibiotic-resistant infections kill at least 23,000 Americans every year. There are multiple causes of antibiotic resistance, and one of the most important factors is the overuse and incorrect use of antibiotics. The majority of antibiotics are not used in humans, but are sold for use in livestock. That's why I authored SB 835 last year, which this body passed unanimously, but was vetoed by the governor because he didn't think the bill went far enough. Since October, I've worked with the governor's office, the Senate Agriculture Committee, and the stakeholders to write SB 27. The bill is intended to make sure that antibiotics are used judiciously in the production of livestock. SB 27 puts all medically important antibiotics under the oversight of a veterinarian. This is important because 97% of antibiotics used in livestock are sold over the counter today. The bill phases this requirement in over the course of a year so producers have time to establish a relationship with a veterinarian. In addition, SB 27 restricts the use of antibiotics in a repeated and regular manner. Under this provision, a person cannot use antibiotics on a long-term basis when no disease is present. This narrowly crafted restriction is important because using antibiotics on an ongoing basis creates the perfect condition for antibiotic resistance to develop without providing any clinical benefit. SB 27 clearly preserves a veterinarian's discretion to use antibiotics to keep animals healthy and to maintain animal welfare. The bill also requires the Department of Food and Agriculture to develop antibiotic stewardship guidelines to help train veterinarians and producers on how to use antibiotics effectively. Lastly, the bill requires the department to develop a system to participate in existing systems to better track antibiotic use and resistant pathogens on farms. This is dependent upon the availability of funding. Since the bill was heard in the Senate Agriculture Committee in April, I've held many meetings with agriculture and the environmental community. Despite some remaining concerns, all the groups have expressed their desire for SB 27 to move forward as we continue to finalize amendments. This bill is about protecting public health and saving lives.
Thank you, Senator. We'll open it up for discussion and debate. We'll begin with Senator Berryhill, who will be followed by Cannella, Galgiani, Pan, and Hueso. Senator Berryhill.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Members, I'll be brief. This is a very complicated bill that the author has really done a very good job at reaching out and working with everybody. Normally, I usually I want these things to be cooked by the time they're here, and I don't want to take the chance of sending them over to the other house. But in this case, I think this is a bill worth sending over to the other house. We're going to get another bite at the apple when it's amended, and the author's done a good job in good faith. Farm Bureau and all the stakeholders that are involved with this seem to want to move it forward, so I will be an aye vote in asking for one today. Thank you.